All right, we're going to continue with our media availability here at Dover Motor Speedway. We are now joined by Alex Bowman, driver of the number 48 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet, who has a win earlier this year at Las Vegas and won this spring race here at Dover a year ago. We will go straight to questions for Alex. If you have a question, please raise your hand and we'll get a mic to you. And we'll start in the back with Zach.
Zach Sterniolo, NBC Sports. Alex, I think one of the knocks on, or one of the criticisms toward your team in past years has been kind of a lack of consistency. But these last few weeks, you've been able to string together a pretty consistent run of good finishes. What are you feeling with this 48 team this year, and how has the team adapted to this next-gen car?
Yeah, I feel like that's been a knock on us, but like at times we've been really consistent. Like the end of 20, we were really, really strong. Last year, definitely we're less consistent than we wanted to be, and I feel like we've been good so far this year. So we've had some races like Martinsville, we struggled. This is probably the worst we've been, and other than that, just had some things out of our control at a couple. But yeah, I think we've done a good job of adapting to the next gen car. We're in a good place right now. It's really interesting coming to a lot of these racetracks, not really knowing what to expect, and like the setup is almost a guess. You know, it's completely based off simulation and hoping that we get it right. And you know, you really can't change much once you're here. So it'll be interesting to see how we are today, but I think we're in a good place, and my guys have been doing a really good job with the next gen car.
Go to Steve.
Steve Post, MRN, to kind of follow from what you said, are there specific things you're most concerned about here at Dover when we look at the challenges of this racetrack?
I just feel like the loads are really high. Entry and exit is never comfortable here, just with, you know, falling down into the corner, and then as you unload the car up off the corner, typically you're really, really, really loose in both situations. In this car, like, you can be a little loose, but if you're really loose, you really can't catch it, and you kind of just don't have the feel and end up backwards most of the time. So hopefully we can avoid that. I don't really know how the race is going to play out. Like, I keep getting asked how it's going to play out all week, and like, I don't know. I think a lot of it's going to be dependent on the tire. But I think, you know, this next gen car, it might drive better than the old car did here, and might drive worse, but we don't know for the next hour and a half or so.
Go to Claire.
Claire Belang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Is it a little unnerving when, you know, your crew chief and you and engineers are used to being able to predict stuff, and you really come here and it is so hard to predict and you have so little time?
A little bit, you know, just finding the grip level the first couple laps is probably the biggest part. Dover's pretty high commitment. Like, once you're off into the corner, like, you got to drive in pretty far. And if it doesn't stick that first time, it's going to be a bad time, right? So just trying to figure out like how committed to be the first couple laps, and trying to get up to speed quickly but also smartly is probably the hardest part.
So I talked to some Xfinity drivers yesterday around the qualifying effort, and they actually were getting stomach aches, some of them, as they got ready to take that drop. And is it that way for you too? I mean,
yeah, I mean, that's kind of typical Dover. First couple laps here feels like a roller coaster more than anything. But I think as you've, you know, run here for 10 years or whatever, it feels normal. But I remember my first couple times here, it's really aggressive, and I'm sure for a couple laps today, it'll feel that way as well.
Additional questions for Alex? Go back to Steve.
The 1, 2, 3, 4 finish of Hendrick. A year later, kind of reflect on that moment, the celebration afterward. I mean, the picture that's still on the cover of Hendrick Motorsports social media pages. Just kind of reflect on what a neat day that was a year ago.
Yeah, it was really cool. Glad I was on the right side of it. Got some bragging rights there. I don't have many bragging rights over guys like Kyle Larson, but I'll take that one. But yeah, it was a really special day for sure. Pretty unbelievable that HMS had never done that before. So to be a small part of that was really cool. Was a good celebration for sure. definitely was the only guy in sunglasses there the next day to take that picture for a reason. But it was fun. Really enjoyed celebrating that with my team. And this is a racetrack I really wanted to win at, so it's really cool.
Go to Nathan.
Nathan Song with a podium finish. Alex, obviously the 48 has a lot of history here, and coming back here as a defending champion as well, is there any added pressure just in that regard?
I don't think so. It's hard to have a ton of pressure when you don't know what to expect, right? It's like I don't know how the car is going to be to drive. There's so many unknowns. Like I'm just trying to figure those things out. So the pressure to run well is there, but I don't think there's any added pressure coming back as a previous winner or driving the 48.
Anything final for Alex? All right, Alex, thanks for joining us. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks, guys.